Hello and welcome to episode 2 of How's Your Week Been? I'm Lee Wilcox, CEO, co-founder of On The Tools, and today I am super excited because we've got a bit of a data geek in the room, we've got a bit of a video geek. First thing we like to do is a bit of a big up. I've got a man who used to own the YouTube space from a video perspective, has worked on massive things. I won't go too much into it because I want him to explain where he's from now and what he's doing. But what we also like to do is hit a jingle up for each guest. So I'm going to hit that jingle first, then I'm going to let you introduce yourself. You can't speak until then. So let's hit the jingle. This is yours.
Denis.
Denis. Denis.
Denis. Denis.
That's Denis's jingle.
Almost as good as Blondie's Denis. Yeah.
Well, I haven't heard that. I never hear these jingles before they play, and that was just a load of brummies saying Denis, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good.
Interestingly enough, the music was created by like a licensing platform that generates the music from code.
Yeah.
So we thought we'll go down the data play here.
I've seen those guys, Juke Deck or something like that.
Is that what it was? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, Denis, pleasure to have you.
Yeah.
Why don't you explain who you are and where you're from?
All right. My name is Denis Crushell. I'm the MD of International for Tubular Labs, and I work at Tubular Labs, and before that I was at YouTube for a few years. And at Tubular, we basically, if you think about Google search indexing every single website, we've done that for every single video on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to help people understand what's happening in online video.
Sounds like an easy task to do.
Yeah, it's a lot of data.
Yeah, a load of data. So currently no one does that.
Yeah, we're the people who started doing this first about 9 years ago, and we first started on YouTube, but as everything's become more cross-platform, the explosion of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of the platforms have been so eager to get into video that it's been great for us, for our business, yeah.
So what platforms do you cover then from a video perspective?
Yeah, we cover Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch are the ones we cover.
Wow.
Yeah.
So massive data collection, and how's that? So 9 years.
Yeah.
So like what I would class as something that you created that was obviously a problem in terms of like a currency for video across platforms. Yeah. 9 years is a long time to be, because I guess there's a lot of work up front to try and start doing that, and I guess the partnerships are difficult to then put in place to collect all this data.
Yeah, Rob Gable, our CEO, who the company started in Silicon Valley in California, and when he first started seeing this problem, he was at a company called Machinima, which was like an MCN for gamers. Right. And he basically was an analyst there, and he was like, it's so hard to know like how big is gaming on YouTube or who are all these influencers. So he saw there was a problem there that could be potentially fixed. And he met a co-founder, Alison Stern, at the time, who was a YouTube analyst at YouTube, and she thought there was no good products for like understanding that space, even internally at Google as well. So they decided to work on a product that would help people with growing their audiences in online video, or marketing people basically, and built a product from that. So it kind of started with like influencers on YouTube, and since then it's kind of grown into a product where we track all videos to help people grow their audiences, or to buy branded content, or to know how big these audiences are. And the aim really is to become a currency for online video.
Oh, I got the mission right there.
Yeah.
Glad I
read
got
the website.
I've read something about it before. So you're the MD for UK. So this is all about getting interesting people in the sort of media tech landscape, and then we say like, how's your week been? What do you do on a weekly basis? What has this week done?
This week, and in my role, I'm like my remit is Europe and Asia actually. So we're now about 24 people in the UK, like looking after both those markets. We're about to set up an office in Singapore as well. So all of that's under my remit. But the majority of our clients are in the UK. And what's my week look like? This week is a lot of interviewing. We have about like 4 open roles or something for people in sales, and so just like a lot of interviewing. And then last week I went to Amsterdam for a day. Met an interesting company we're talking to. They're called 433. If you've ever seen them, big football Instagram page. So I get to meet lots of people who are doing an amazing job, such as On the Tools and others, in online video, and really seeing if we can help them further grow or monetize. The big question for everyone is like, how do you monetize these audiences? And we're really trying to help people understand how big the audiences are in the first place, and really bring transparency into the market for like agencies and brands. There's great measurement in place for like TV, radio, podcasting. Not that great right now. Online video a bit better. We've been around for quite a while, but that's really kind of where we're helping people. But my week meeting clients. And with the team and interviewing a lot at the moment. So
how do you, because Tubular it's head office based in the US?
Yeah.
How many offices does Tubular?
Yeah, we have, let me get this right now, we have, let me count it out. So we have Mountain View in California, which is our headquarters, then San Francisco, LA, New York, London, and Ukraine. Actually, we have a team of engineers in Ukraine as well, in Kiev. So we have 6 offices.
And then 7 when Singapore opens.
7 with Singapore.
Okay. So from a recruitment point of view, what's it take to work at Tubular? What are you looking for?
It's fascinating. Like what we're selling actually is like something totally new. So you're really looking for some people who are passionate about the online video space and what we're trying to do. I think passion is one of the biggest things I'm looking for in individuals. And then I guess really like that passion and eagerness to try and sell a new product, because I often say to people, no one wakes up thinking in the morning they needed video analytics. So you really need to work with people.
Wish I understood the currency of video.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I'm really looking for people who are wanting to grow a business that's growing really fast. Like I started our London office 3.5 years ago. It was just me in a spare room, and now we're like 24 people. So that's been really great, that growth. And I know you guys have gone through similar kind of growth, even double the size we are now. So
not quite yet. It was sort of similar sort of like timings and growth pattern, and what, we met about 3 years ago, maybe something like 2.5, 3 years ago.
Hiring's hard though.
Hiring is hard. We're going through this sort of similar thing now, and it's interesting understanding what people are looking for and how even like, so you say you're trying to fill 4 roles. Yeah. Because I think it's often a pain point for people that are running businesses as well, when they get to the point where you go, okay, we're employing people, but then you get to that, where you're at now, that like 20 mark, 25, 30, where the hiring becomes like really, really important, because you get into that point where there's a lot more scalability and like things. Whereas before you're getting a load of this sounds terrible, but a load of jack of all trades. It's like, it's start up, we've got to do this, X, Y, and Z. At the start you would have been doing every job possible. Whereas now you're hiring for much more specific, and it's more costly at a time where actually you're trying to pull the trigger and scale more. And
I think a big thing I've noticed is like when I was at Google before as well, like especially in the media side of the world, like relationships were a big thing in selling and everything. Relationships are still big, but I actually find now like there's just so much more transparency in the market for like buying, whether it's media or software like us, that like relationships or a black book of contacts will only get you so far, that you have to really have substance behind whatever you're selling.
And it's a crowded space, isn't it? And that doesn't necessarily mean in the nicheness of like currency for video, because I think you're unique in that way. But software or SaaS as a product, that's hard to, people ring me up and like, we've got that, and I'm just like, I don't want it. My instant reaction is, I don't want it, I don't need it, it's going to cost me money, etc, etc. So it's a hard, like, I would imagine it's a hard sell in, even though that, particularly with what you're pushing, that these publishers need it, and without it, you blind, particularly from a monetization point of view. So it's interesting, and a hard recruitment drive, I would imagine. But
I think like to get people's interest, like your interest, you really need to show them something they haven't seen before, or something about them that's quite interesting or compelling, like to kind of get that first interest.
Yeah, I mean, how do because you who's your main sort of push then with Tubular? Let's talk, so we're in the publishing world, and that's why we know about Tubular and how we met and stuff. And is it mainly publishers you look at? Is it brands who want to take that in-house? Because there's a couple of things, there's a number of things that Tubular does, isn't it? it's the currency for online video in terms of what's good and what's bad necessarily, but then like you said about monetization, you've got like brand collab tools like that, or brand partnership tools type of things, and you've got intelligence, which is more about doing your job here for you. But, intelligence, which is more a broader scale of like, this is what content is being created, etc. I know you've got other things in the pipeline, which you know, so it's who should use it, you know, and why, who's using it well.
And I think like that point just a minute ago about like our product suite, like for me, before I joined Tubular, like the fact you can't go anywhere except Tubular at the moment anyway for online video to see what is the biggest video that's happening on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter today. You actually can't see that anywhere, and there's like about 1 million new videos being uploaded every day, and it's only just getting bigger. So like it's insane to be able to pinpoint to people like what is actually trending or like popular at the moment. But who are we targeting? We like publishers like yourselves, a lot of the broadcasters we work with as well. So we work with like Viacom, Discovery, we've worked with BuzzFeed, Vice and these kind of guys, and brands as well. We're working with, actually we did a webinar with Benefit Cosmetics last week. Some of these brands like Benefit are massive into influencers now, and that's interesting. There was another client of ours called Moon Active. I saw an article about this morning. Not Moon Active. These guys are what are they called again? They are Moon Active. It's they have an app, and it's something Coin is the name of the app. And they monetize it for $30 million a month. I read an article for this morning. They sell in-app purchases for like kind of like of this like game that's kind of complex, and you buy things to kind of get better at the game, kind of like Fortnite, really. Yeah. But it's just amazing to see some of these companies monetize their audiences so well that they have, whether it's in gaming apps or through influencer marketing, like. The Benefit webinar we did last week, they're just seeing such a massive return from influencer marketing, from getting their content out there into the hands of influencers that are popular on Instagram, YouTube. So there's some of the people. Work with Red Bull, Adidas, a lot of the guys, a lot of brands who like either a lot of people are creating content about them, or they're creating a lot of content themselves, or influencers are really important, or they know their audiences are big on these platforms, so they know that they have to target them in a better way.
And who's it when you think about Tubular and you think of companies that are using it well, or who stands out?
Good question. I think you guys do a great job in terms of like branded content. I think we're looking at today?
We could definitely do more. And I'll tell the team that as well. I'm staring down the camera.
The second biggest partner in the UK, I think, this year, behind the cricket, which is good going. And I think when we look at in the UK, I think people like Lab Bible, Jungle Creations, I think they do a great job. I think. And then I think it's interesting to see people kind of doing a better job on long form content as well. I think that's becoming more important, like engagement, long watch time and stuff. That's something we're very interested in. And something we've announced recently that we're working on is like watch time and deduped audiences. So as an example for on the tools, like what would be your, you have an audience on Facebook, you have an audience on YouTube, what's actual the crossover there or not?
And then I guess the value then in terms of how long people are watching for then. So you get that currency of, so at the moment the currency exists in the sense of like where are the views happening, who's getting the views, what the audience, which audience is viewing them. But then like I think brands are asking more questions now, 100% about, particularly in the consumer market, are asking more questions because I think they're more advanced on social, etc. That they're going, well, that's fine, but a view's only 3 seconds, or a view's only 10 seconds, or what's the average watch time? How long are people actually consuming the content for? Where are they going after that? And I think that's what this brings is, and as well from my point of view, we
doing a great job here, Lee, of selling Tubular.
I know. I was just turning to advert. But from my point of view, it's something that's needed across the industry because as we've grown, we've got frustrated with, and you'll know this, like there was a period of time through Facebook, probably like 18 months ago, where the platform was just rife of pages that were just regurgitating and placing content elsewhere at mass as well. That probably stole a lot of the limelight that we felt we were creating through an actual community and an actual brand. So it was we've always joked and been like, you know, very much the Wild West over the last 4 years in terms of social and video, particularly through Facebook and what you could do and what you couldn't. And we've always been like, we're the good boys. We always sort of stay in line with it. And you see loads of pages that don't do that, that make like serious money through like whether it be suggested videos or ad breaks or whatever it might be through that. But now they're sort of starting to be shut down.
And there's a shelf
the
life
rules
for that.
have changed through Facebook. That like repopulating videos elsewhere, they're really trying to turn that down, and I think that really helps. And then what will help it even further from selfishly from my point of view would be look at average watch times, because we know we do well in that space. So then we're like, well, from a brand, when we're trying to do brand collabs, we can go, don't go there because that average watch time is low and ours is high. So come and do work with us. And I think that's what Tubular does really well, is it just allows publishers, brands, whatever, to go just to measure it as a baseline. That did really well. That didn't. It's a sort of as you know. Whereas if you don't have that, you don't know that.
And I think like even when I was at Google, I think back in 2015, they switched their algorithm from like views to watch time basically, and like their suggestion engine and algorithm, and like as a result, like a lot of people who are just trying to game the system and everything just kind of died overnight. And everyone who's actually getting engaged audiences and stuff built up bigger audiences. And I think as long as you are doing the right thing for the audience in terms of like content and entertaining them, I think the platforms are just trying to understand how best to serve the best content to those audiences, and getting rid of issues like brand safety or fake followers. Like if you have fake followers, you can't have an actual engaged audience of people who are commenting and everything. So I think it's fascinating right now, and seeing like with Facebook Watch, I read the other day, I think that they're reaching something like 700 million people a month in Watch now, which is amazing. And for a minute, I think it was a stat I saw, it was some of their marketing, but that's what I saw. And I think that like all of the good actors and everything are kind of being moved into these programs more, and are getting more sustainable long-term businesses that can monetize in these platforms, which is what the platforms want.
Yes, and it's what they need as well. So on that then, and this is a good lead in from that, because you're saying, you know, creating content is the main thing. Do you think that people concentrate too much on the data over the creative? So what I mean by that is, do people try and game the system too much over actually, if you just concentrate on creating content, would that work better?
I think our platform, and Melissa, who's like Chief Content Officer at Jungle Creation, said this before, like Tubular is a great way of looking at people who are getting rewarded by the platforms. What is it they're doing? Like how frequently are they uploading? What length of their content is? What is the content about? I think Tubular is a great way of looking at basically what's good. Most people don't have a clue, and we see this a lot with brands and people and agencies. They might set a target, we want 20 million views for this video. Why did you pick 20 million exactly? And I think it's great if you can actually see, is 20 million good in this space? How many likes should it get? How many comments and so on and so forth? So I think people aren't looking enough, at data for like what's everyone else doing around them. Are people getting obsessed a bit too much about data? I think with like influencers as an example, or like Facebook pages, a lot of people were like, followers metric is an easy, or likes is an easy metric, let's go for that. But I think it's interesting seeing Instagram testing, like removing likes and stuff now, where they're also trying to get back to engagement and viewership and everything.
What do you think that'll do to Instagram?
I think...
Because it's been positioned as progress or positive move towards mental health.
I do think that. I do think it is.
Do you think it's that's the reason they've done it?
Oh, I think it's one of the reasons. I think I think something as well though, like if you look at Instagram, they are now creating ad units that advertisers can promote more easily if you've worked with an influencer or a page or a brand to promote it. So I'm sure that there will be like easier kind of ways for brands to work with promoting those posts and getting some of the information behind that, maybe not visible publicly. But yeah, I think it's going to be fascinating. But I do think like a company like Instagram and Facebook, the owner, like they will be testing these things a lot, and they will not roll it out unless it makes sense for the platform.
And they don't even test these things unless they've tested it before. Whether, you know what I mean? Like at a real micro level where people don't even see it. People actually think it's a glitch. You know, and they're testing behind. It's interesting.
There was a podcast I listened to Mark Zuckerberg before. It was with that guy Reid Hoffman, and he's a podcast called Scale It or something like that. And Mark Zuckerberg said that any time at Facebook there's 10,000 tests going on, like A/B tests. Like, imagine.
Yeah, it's insane the scale, and that's the culture they breed there as well, isn't it? Of like from a dev point of view, is go and work on projects, go and do cool stuff, go and try and break things, create things. Everyone's always working on stuff. Whether it gets through or not is the other thing. I think it's interesting with the Instagram likes thing in the sense that why do people, that aggregation of likes on an Instagram post or engagement often provokes more engagement. I find, well, it does with me. If I'm going through the feed and something's got massive engagement, I'm far more likely to stop on it than I would be if it doesn't have any. Depending on who's posted it, etc., and what I'm doing, where I am, all that. So I always, my thing is with it, I wonder whether that will slow the engagement down on influencers' posts. Now, obviously, I think there was a bit of a miscommunication as well when it got rolled out, because everyone was like, "Oh my god, like no one's going to be able to see anything." But obviously, the person who's posted it can. So, from an influencer marketing perspective with a brand, they can still go, "These are the stats." But I just wonder what effect that will actually have on the influencer's post, based on you've really got to be engaged with that post in order to. There will 1,000% be people that like it because other people have liked it, and that. So it'd be interesting to see whether those stats lower, what the play is, whether Instagram, whether Instagram, Facebook as a company want to get involved in the media relationship between brand and influencer and control that.
I think it's becoming such a big space now. Like definitely when I was even at YouTube, when we were looking at influencers and stuff, I think it's definitely like, well, there's quite a lot of money being spent in that domain. For a platform to look at, I think particularly with Instagram, but I think at the same time, I think the platforms do want companies to be making money, not just from the ads, to have a monetizable business that can actually be profitable on their platforms, which if you think about things, we're at such an early infancy of that. Actually my wife said today there was rumors that CBS Viacom were maybe going to purchase Vice and BuzzFeed today in the news.
Really?
Yeah. Which
I think we'll see like bigger acquisitions of things in the future.
And I guess those businesses, have had to do some cuts and everything because there's quite a lot of venture capital gone in there. Maybe it would make more sense now. But I think in the US market, Vice and BuzzFeed control a very large percentage of that branded content space. Yeah,
I mean, they've done such a great job, haven't they, in terms of the growth they've had. And particularly Vice, that I think they, I'm a fan of the content they create, the way it looks, the content they cover, the way it's structured. I think they do.
And they do a lot of content for brands. Like, I remember when I was at YouTube, I didn't really realize, like, they kind of also had a proposition of like, okay, a creative agency is quite expensive to like get video ads from assets, like for TV ads and stuff. We'll create 50 white labeled videos for you this year. The tech and proposition of Vice and everything, but they'll be white labeled. Like I think that's quite a big part of their business as well.
So you get that vibe, but you don't have to have the Vice branding with it. Which is really interesting, isn't it? So you were at YouTube before, so you were working a lot on the sports space.
So what was that like? It was good. I was head of sponsorships there, and I got to go to the World Cup in 2014 at my job.
Oh, nice.
Got to go to Wimbledon, got to go to the Ryder Cup. It was a fun year. So it was like kind of working with premium sports partners and advertisers as well, and so it was cool.
I want to come on back to that,
Yeah.
but it was a nice inroad for me.
Yeah.
Jamie will be pleased with my inroad there. Each podcast we do a quiz.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Now,
I listened to the Jamie Boulding one from Jungle.
Right, okay.
I heard that
So
one.
you've got the opportunity
Pizza toppings and stuff.
Yeah, that's it. You've got the
Yeah.
opportunity to win some Hywb coin, new cryptocurrency coming to the market. Denis should be able to spend
Okay.
it well.
Yeah.
You have 5 questions. Today's quiz, because you were head of sports sponsorship,
Oh.
we
Yeah.
thought we'd make a bit of a sports social
Okay.
quiz.
Yeah.
So it's multiple choice. Well, it's not actually all of it, but so I'm going to start.
Yeah.
Question 1: A 16-year-old named Bogda won the Fortnite World Cup on Sunday,
Oh yeah.
but how much was his cash prize in dollars?
It's $3 million.
Bing, bing, bing. I would have been disappointed if you didn't know that.
Yeah.
One, from a video perspective, and the fact that Twitch is a huge partner.
Yeah.
Two,
yeah.
from the sports.
Yeah.
You
I think
should
they were
know
saying
that.
US Open. There was some interesting graphics going around.
Yeah,
LinkedIn
there
about
was,
it.
wasn't there, through LinkedIn,
Yeah.
where it's
And
like
Love
the
Island was
second-
£50,000.
Yeah, crap, isn't it? Yeah. The second highest, I think it was. I think the only thing that beat it was. I think it was it was
US
a golf. It was the Open,
yeah,
wasn't it?
Yeah, I was wondering, was that kind of rigged? But there
golf
was
or
there
tennis?
other things. It was the tennis, US
Tennis.
Open. Yeah.
And there was some stuff underneath it where you're thinking, wow.
Open was below it. Yeah, there was a lot of golf stuff below it actually. Yeah.
Crazy.
And Wimbledon. Yeah.
Yeah. Question 2: BT streamed the previous Champions League on YouTube.
Yeah.
How many people streamed the match on this platform? I've got three options for you. A, 4.8 million. B, 11.4 million. Or C, 66 million.
The night of the final that's just gone in the UK.
BT streamed the previous champion. Previous. Yeah.
And the options are 4.8.
4.8, 11.4, or 66.
It's not 66. It's one of the others. I think it was actually really high. I think it was 11. It was 4.
It was 4.8. I'm sorry, Denis. It was wrong. Yeah, 4.8 million watched the.
It's pretty amazing.
I mean, it is pretty amazing,
Yeah.
isn't it? Question 3: In 2018, Logan Paul fought KSI in a boxing match.
I watched it.
You watched it, okay? So you should know this answer. But who won? Was it A, KSI, B, Logan Paul, or C, was it a draw?
It was a draw.
It was a draw.
And people were saying, was it rigged? I don't know.
I mean, that whole space in itself, this whole online to offline space where you're an influencer, and then you can really start dragging people onto huge paying sports events that you wouldn't even dream of. I mean, you'd said this like 5 years ago, where you said, oh yeah, there's going to be some influencers that are going to run an event that's ran like a pretty much like a full boxing match. It's insane.
One of the best £8 ever spent. Yeah. I think there was about 900,000 people streaming that, like, who'd paid for it on YouTube, and then obviously got ripped and was on Twitch as well. I think there was about another million or something over there.
Yeah, insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
Question 4: Which pop star invested in esports? Was it A, Drake, B, Pitbull, or C, Ed Sheeran?
Oh, like Drake did do that Ninja broadcast, so I'll have to go for him.
He's got it right.
Yeah.
Good use of knowledge there. And question 5: Who is the most followed sports star on Instagram? Is it A, David Beckham, B, Ronaldo, or C, LeBron James?
Easy one, Ronaldo.
It is Ronaldo. So out of that, you only got one wrong. Is that right, Jamie? I wasn't counting.
Yeah.
It's pretty good going. 4 out of 5. Usually it's like, I don't know whether they were easy or not, maybe in the video space.
Yeah.
You did pretty well.
Thank you.
So coming back onto that then,
Yeah.
the gaming side of it really interests me. So you mentioned earlier on that, from like an esports perspective, and the founders of Tubular were sort of in that space.
Yeah.
How, the growth of that industry at the moment is...
It's phenomenal.
It's just exponential, isn't it? We just spoke then quickly about the, Bogda, the 16-year-old kid who's now rich beyond his wildest dreams.
Yeah.
What does that? What effect do you think that has on like on young people and their aspirations of what they're actually going to go and do in their lives. So I think I seen a stat the other day on LinkedIn, and it was, you know, there's that many things flying around LinkedIn at the minute, but it was quite interesting that the top, when you ask children, there was some kind of stat thing done and some coverage done, and it was like the top, I think it was 50% of children in the UK said that they were going to be a YouTuber, and in China, the top was an engineer, and YouTuber was last with like a very small percentage. What does that do to kids? You see aspirationally, you see a 16-year-old kid play on a computer game and win 3 million quid.
Yeah, I think a lot more kids are going to want to be him, aren't they?
But how many can? Like anything, but I don't think it's one of those things where it's so accessible. You know, for me when I was growing up, if I wanted to be a footballer. I got to a point where I knew I wasn't going to be a footballer.
Same here.
And it was a sad day, but I realised it, and I, you know, sucked it up and got on with it. That's it. Took me a while to get over it. But to get to that stage, there's so many different stages to get through, and I'm sure there is in esports, but it is so accessible to get really, really good, and takes so much time of someone's time to practice that or get hooked on it or addicted in any way. Is the gap the same? Is the reality gap the same?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, you know about this, the Twitch or the Fortnite game that we're talking about. What a piece of branded content to host that tournament.
Mental.
Like the amounts of press and everything it got. Which I do think, I did read somewhere that like maybe 10,000 or was it 100,000, I forget, like actually tried to enter that World Cup. They all entered, and then this was the last remaining guy from all of it. I think it's an amazing piece of branded content by Fortnite to generate more interest for their game. I was looking the other day, Fortnite gets about 180 million video views across platform every single day, like just of UGC content and stuff. So it's massive, it's a juggernaut. But I think that I think there's going to be massive interest. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I recently became a dad, and
congratulations.
Thank you. And I do think, like, as a parent, like, imagine the struggles those parents went through with those kids who were like probably winning these tournaments, of like spending so many hours playing these games.
It's exactly that. Imagine, so that lad, if he did get any grief off his parents, you don't know whether he was supported or whether he wasn't. If he didn't, I mean, he's the smuggest kid in the world, and he's sitting there now going, "I told you, told you so." You know, but then that's the message that every kid's gonna have there to parents, like, yeah, but
I can do this.
I can do it. You could look, this kid's won 3 million.
It's the reality, like football. It's even maybe smaller, like. But do more people game now than like try to play football? Actually, no, I guess not. But like the odds are very small of someone getting through to be that guy who won, for sure. But
as a parent, I would much prefer, you know, my daughter to go outside and kick a football round than I would sit in front of the computer screen for like 8 hours in order to get to that point. Too. And it's really interesting. So, like, you know, like I've got an 8-year-old girl, but and I like. Don't really like let her use that much of like much. She doesn't really sit on my phone, and I'm quite happy when she picks up the phone and asks me how to get onto things, because you know, if I give her, she's got like a little kid's Kindle thing that she rarely uses, but when she does open it, she doesn't really know how to use it that well. Now I'm a bit of a shit really, because I'm sort of like quite happy with that, because I'm like, well, that's good, because she doesn't use it that often, therefore she's doing other things. She's more engaged in, like, you know, she loves a bit of role play. Ava does, you know, she loves like playing like dolls and nurses and all these things, and being outside. I was playing basketball with her last night, and I love that. But at a certain point, it's like with anything with a kid, you don't want them to be the first, but you don't want them to be the last. You know, you want them to be somewhere in the middle. You don't want them to be like, I spend 8 hours on my phone, but you don't want them to know, you know, when they get into high school, you don't want them to know not how to use it, because then peer to peer, it's sort of like, they're an outcast if they don't know how to catch up with what all the other kids are doing. There's such a fine balance. You know, she started asking me about having a phone, and I'm like, jog on, like, you're not having your own phone, you don't need it. You're ringing, you know, you ring me and that's it. You know what I mean?
What age do you think she will have her own phone?
Oh man, I'd like to say like 12, 13, but
Yeah.
it's not. I reckon it's as soon as she gets to high school.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's the peer pressure of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
There's a
yeah.
really interesting thing of like the scale of tech
Yeah.
against what, you know, in my head anyway, how I was brought up and what I did when I was a kid and how much exercise I got and
Yeah.
you know, is there a link between the fact that there's so much tech available for kids and the fact that we've just got an obese nation?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there is, like,
Yeah.
definitely. But it's an interesting thing. But I think the esports bit for me is such an. I'm contradicting myself because I love it as well. I'm like,
Yeah.
what a mad space to be in, and
Yeah.
I think if I was a kid now, I would love it. I used to love playing on my computer.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. It reminds me though almost of like poker or something. Like,
Yeah.
which is I worry about the addictive nature of it. Really, like even if I just think about like social media, like. Kids are so addicted to it, as well as like adults. Like, I'm amazed whenever I'm traveling the tube and the amount of people playing Candy Crush and stuff. I'm just like, why do you bother?
I you know, when I'm addicted to social media and I know it, and
Yeah.
then I think I would have hated to have had I wouldn't probably if I was a kid, but I look back now and I'm so glad I didn't have social media when I was in
Imagine
school.
the peer pressure and stuff.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
man.
like you think about like bullying and
Yeah.
things like that. You're like, well, if I got bullied at school on a certain day or whatever it was, I'd leave, I'd go home and it'd be gone.
And it wasn't broadcast all over the internet.
Yeah, like as soon as you leave school now, you can be like ridiculed from afar. You know, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't want Ava to go to high school. Basically, she can just stay 8 years old forever.
Yeah.
So, what's next for Tubular?
For us, yeah. I said earlier we're really focused on this, like being the measurement standard for online video. We think that there's a real opportunity for that. Actually, when I worked at YouTube, I remember finding it fascinating that like when we were actually trying to sell like sports sponsorships to people, we were trying to use ComScore to like show how big the FA's channel is or England's channel, and you literally couldn't. And that's where I actually came across Tubular and being like, oh, these guys are trying to do this. And now we're at a stage where we're really just trying to be that standard for measurement, which like what I said earlier about like watch time, how long people are engaging with this stuff. No one can see the watch time behind On The Tools or Adidas or anyone. You just kind of see maybe views, likes or comments kind of, and which we were saying earlier, are they vanity metrics or not? So that's what we're really focused on right now, and we've announced a program called the Global Video Measurement Alliance, where we've partnered with, let me get this right, Vice, Viacom, Group 9, BuzzFeed, Vice, Brute, Media Chain, you know, the social chain, media chain guys as well here in the UK, and we've partnered with those people to basically look at solving this problem with measurement, and we're going to be doing that as well with brands and agencies more, to make sure that we have good currency in the market for people like trying to reach these audiences from an advertising standpoint. And really, like, you guys do 100 million views a month, like how do you reach 40% of the population in the UK, maybe males or something? I don't know, but like would love to be able to tell you that, and to tell agencies and brands maybe On The Tools is something that is kind of cheaper media right now versus maybe Sky Sports, which is also reaching large male audiences. I don't know, but that's what we want to get to.
And do you think that, because you've got all these massive agencies, so you've got like the media buyers, you know, and then
it's complex, isn't it?
Yeah, particularly I think over the last couple of years, it's the landscape, because of companies like us, you know, these publishers that have come out of nowhere, then that's another distribution channel with something that's highly engaged, but it's owned and operated by a company, but it sits on another platform. It's confusing. And then, but you've got like your media buyers, then you've got your creative agencies, then you've got like these full service agencies that do everything, but then, you know, by all accounts don't do anything, you know, and do you think that they're using anything, you know, do they use Tubular in a way where they're actually assessing the market, or do you think not enough of them are?
Yeah, we're starting to work with, like, we work with entities within Omnicom and Group M, and they're starting to. I think like from an agency's perspective in traditional media, they're used to things like how many individuals are actually there and how long are they watching the content, just like Barb with TV as an example. And I think the agencies need to be empowered more with transparency around the market of like how big are these audiences and how long are they consuming it. So I think that's only just starting to happen. We're trying to help people do that. And I think like in the agency world right now, there's a lot of change. Like lots of big accounts are going out for tender and like constantly. And I think the agencies have found it tough with Facebook and Google and losing control a little bit. But at the same time, we think we can help agencies really add a layer of kind of third-party verification for all of this and everything.
Yeah. It's interesting. So, like, you know, you think about how a media buyer might, you know, or like planners.
Exactly.
Planner. So, a brief comes in.
Yeah.
The vision, surely from your point of view, is that they go to Tubular and go, okay, I want to understand where people are, where they're watching, how long they're watching for.
Yeah.
And do you think that's missing at the minute?
I think we've solved some of that, but we've a little bit more to go. And I think, yes, people are working with us as an agency the other day. They said they discovered you guys and they've seen your Tubular profile or whatever. So I think that's happening. But like today, we're kind of more on the metrics of views, likes, comments, and it's we just kind of need to get to a next stage where you literally go into a planning tool and you're like, okay, show me all the biggest websites in the UK and also brands that are active on Facebook and like media brands such as yourselves or Lab Bible or Jungle Creations, and let's see who has the biggest audiences and the most engaged audience. Like actually there was a client of ours, they're called Jelly Smack. And
great name.
They're massive. They own a channel on Facebook called Oh My Goal, if you've ever seen it.
Seen it, yeah.
And they're massive. They do billions of views as well. But if you go to their website, it's literally like a contact us page. Like they haven't bothered investing there because they reach billions of audiences, of viewers on Facebook, YouTube, and it's kind of like they know that like, what's the point in investing in our O&O if the audience really isn't there? Which is kind of counterintuitive to how some stuff is kind of, some people are trying to own that back more. But it's interesting. It's kind of like fish where the fish are, right? In terms of where the audience are. But
yeah. Well,
what do you think?
Onto that. Well, then, so a question with a question.
Yeah, sorry, I'm asking you the question.
No, it's interesting because I think that people are moving about a bit. I think, you know, from the feed from Facebook more into groups.
Groups.
I still think that Facebook have got a lot of work to do with Watch, but I can see what they're doing with it, and I think if they continue to push the algorithm to get people into that, then that will work. Obviously, Insta's driving now. I think the switch to landscape and putting IGTV through the feed was a smart move, and that seems to have sort of increased its awareness a little bit. People used to be using that. But interestingly, which is what I was going to ask you, was TikTok.
Yeah.
Do you measure TikTok or not?
We don't yet.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think it's fascinating. I downloaded Musical.ly a few years ago just to really understand what it's about.
Same.
And my nieces and stuff were on it. And I downloaded TikTok once or twice. I re-downloaded it recently again just to look at it. And I was out in Japan recently for work, and like just people are very excited about it in Asia as well, and as well as the UK. So what do I think? I think for me it's like what Vine was years ago. And I think you can waste, like I think you spend a lot of time consuming content there. I think it's a younger audience for sure, and it looks like it's doing really well.
It's mad, isn't it? Because every platform's trying to go more long form, and then out of nowhere, that's wrong to say, but they've obviously got real funding now to like hit the So that now is seeing huge growth on a platform that when you look at it, you go, every other platform's tried to move away from this like Vine type of content, and then you've got a platform that is just rife at the minute for exactly that content. You know, why didn't Vine? Why did that disappear? Why did it die? You know, and then suddenly you've got a platform that is almost a replica of it. In a certain sense, even if, you know, just from, you know, portrait video, short. And now it's like it's the thing. It's taking over the world. And but from a brand partnerships perspective, mega difficult to understand where the value is if you want to reach anything other than a very young.
But some brands do.
But then even the time format as well of that, how much
But Vine was big for branded content.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
That's where the Logan Paul brothers, or Jake and Paul,
was where
started.
a load of the influencers started, isn't it? And then they migrated
moved to
and YouTube
and now Instagram. Yeah.
And do you think the sponsorships from like YouTube and how that happened and how that happens now, it will be different to how that happens on TikTok? And because I look at like Facebook, and I look at IG and TikTok, and then I look at YouTube.
Yeah.
And I think YouTube monetized better than what any of the others have.
Yeah, from ads loading around it, or from the branded content?
Probably both.
Both, yeah.
Because the branded content was allowed and it wasn't deemed naughty or you're breaking guidelines.
Yeah.
And then obviously the monetization tool that they had from an ad platform perspective,
the best in the world.
Worked massively well.
Yeah.
Where do you think the other ones went wrong or have gone wrong in that sense?
I think it was interesting with Facebook's like kind of rollout a lot of this like ad products and stuff. They did an awful lot of testing, and then but I think like Facebook are just so good at rolling out things. I think they've taken a little bit longer to get there, but they're getting there. I think.
Yeah.
I think we've heard from lots of partners. Facebook monetization is much better these days, and they're excited about it.
Yes.
And I think it's interesting. Even if you look at YouTube, right? Years ago, they did this original channels thing where they basically funded a lot of original channels and upfront payments. We saw that with Facebook, we saw that with Snapchat, but they're all really trying to get to like revenue share models if they can make the ad products good enough and stuff. So I think Facebook, I think Snapchat apparently is doing well as well, and we've heard excitement from a lot of publishers in that regard recently. I think very large audiences in the US, UK, Middle East, and different countries. It's interesting. I think Twitter actually is working. I think the platforms are all getting better at monetization.
Yes, I do as well. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because you look at Snap and Twitter, where they sort of everyone was there getting slated, and now they've sort of like just kept themselves quiet, and now everyone's going.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I prefer using Twitter on the daily. Facebook's getting a bit of a battering on the news feed, and people want to use Snap more. And it's really the battle for eyes is so interesting at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah, like even Snap, I saw in their earnings was that their viewers went up 6% or something. It was a feature of like kind of like that face app thing where you kind of do older or younger faces with Snap's thing. But it is the battle for audiences, and I think it's amazing just like looking at TV, like I find it fascinating. I don't know if you listen to this podcast, Ad Exchanger, but they recently were just talking about like with TV ads, like brands are very, they know what they're getting with TV ads and they know it works. But the audiences for TV are going down. Like in the States, I think it went down another 10% this year in terms of like ad inventory. And but the companies are just charging 10-15% more, making up for that.
How long does that last?
Well, I think we're seeing that is going to not last that long. I think is what I like. Well, I think one thing is the formats. The ad formats on social need to get like measurement needs to get better to make sure that the effectiveness of those ads are working, or else people who are spending the brand budgets won't be comfortable with moving lots and lots of money into those spaces. And I think we've seen in some content genres that's happened sooner rather than later. So like gaming is massive, and like I'd imagine the majority of money now is on digital. Well, I guess in the UK now there's more spent digitally than TV. So in gaming you're probably up to 70-80% is digital.
Yeah, which is insane, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think how long does it last? I think obviously it's an audience thing as well. Like I think I spoke to one broadcaster before, and they were saying that literally as every year goes on, their audience gets 1 year older, and they don't get the younger people and their average age. So I think it's a thing that like the older, I think the audiences that are watching TV today, the older audiences are actually consuming more of it. But I think as the average age is going up, like on TV, sure you have like Love Island and stuff, but it's kind of, it feels like a spike versus
they are spikes, exactly that.
all the time.
I think the interesting space and what will happen which I think it will, is, and you see it now, subscribers on Netflix, is going down, etc. And they're gonna need to do something different. Is that when the ad space travels across to sub rev models, subscription rev models, and then how well advertising through, so from a planning point of view, how well agencies and brands can strategize campaigns across social and the new sort of TV landscape, the subscription models like Netflix, Amazon Prime, etc. Because that will happen, that will drive through, and that's where I think TV's still got a place. Only if it's being used as a social campaign as well, and then you can sit those trigger points. TV on its own, I would say you're wasting your money. On the whole, depending on who you're going for, but if you were to go through, when that will be an interesting space, I think, when Netflix, Amazon Prime, Now TV, all these submodels start driving ad placement, that will be super interesting on how that then links in with social.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How big do you think On the Tools will get?
So there's a lot of things happening at the minute with On the Tools. So we completed a raise 3 weeks ago, which is great. And we're about to launch, start of October, we will launch what will be a new creative agency to sit above the communities that we own. So we've got On the Tools, we've got on a budget, we're looking at how we're growing and partnering with others as well. So what we've realised with the help of Tubular is that we're doing really, really well in this space, and actually we're underselling what we're doing because we don't have a B2B arm. So people assume that we're a publisher and that two people work On the Tools and it's two builders in the pants in the bedroom. Do you know what I mean? That's the sort of assumption. Hopefully our clients don't think that, but on the whole, that's what we knew we were fighting against, and allowing us to stretch out as this agency model will do two things. One, improve our B2B experiences and opportunities, etc. But what I think will allow the publishing arms to flourish more as well, because there'll be sets of people that are just within the team to drive those communities. And I think we've got a big focus on like the media, data, and e-commerce. That's the three pillars that we'll have within the agency that will drive that. So
e-commerce as well. Do you think media data? Do you think e-commerce or media will be bigger? Yeah.
I don't think you can have one without the other. So but I think e-com will be bigger.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it, when you think of TV subscriptions and ads? Like you're thinking e-commerce and ads. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah. So there's a lot going on. But back to your question, how big are we going to be? Well, so the aim is that within the next 4 years we'll be £100 million business. So
amazing.
Offices in other places. Looking at a London office at the minute, which will be great.
Nice.
Just commercially. So a lot going on. We're actually moving ourselves as well, closer to Birmingham. Moving to the Fort Dunlop building, which will be amazing as well. New space.
Do you invite the audience to come over when it's ready?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, you're getting invited anyway. We'll throw a massive party, mate, so it'll be all good. Good. Right, to round this up very quickly, we run this podcast for two reasons. One, to meet super interesting people, tick, good, done. The second is to eventually get either Jennifer Lawrence or Tom Hanks on the podcast.
Right.
So with the whole 6 degrees of separation, is it 6 degrees or 7? 6? 6. We ask our guests to invite, intro us into the next guest that will get us one step closer to Jennifer Lawrence or Tom Hanks.
Okay.
I'm thinking there's some US connections here, Denis.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. Get us across the pond, mate. I want a reason to take the podcast abroad.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay. Let me think about it.
I'll travel.
Yeah. I'll ask some of our guys in the US how they can get you there. Okay?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
That sounds good. There we go. We've got Denis on audio and camera saying he's going to get us over to America. So, been an absolute...
I won't be paying for it, but I'll get you. I'll get you an invite from someone. I'll get you into the country where you put in the form, I'm meeting X.
Been an absolute pleasure. I think you and Tubular are doing some really, really exciting things. If you haven't looked into Tubular and you're in the agency brand Publisher space, you're concentrating on marketing efforts through video. You need to be checking out what Tubular are doing. All the links and everything will be in the captions, comments. Yeah, been a pleasure talking
been
video.
A pleasure.
I like
Thank you.
geeking out on video. It's been really good.
Yeah,
Thanks very much.
Thank you.